Big win for the Predators last night. Phone line still open, 737-7767 if you'd like to chime in. The Preds, I thought, really impressive. They came out, they were attention to detail defensively, which you needed to see after the way things went down Sunday against the Blues. They got a lead. They gave it up in the third period. This is a Calgary team that can score from anywhere. They're very explosive. They had chances late. UC Saros was terrific again. Defense continued to be stingy in terms of the chances they gave up. And while the offense wasn't going, they hit the post multiple times. They found a way to get it to overtime, get a point. They found a way in overtime. Saros with a couple nice saves in overtime to keep it going, get it to a shootout. And then Mikael Granlund scores the game winner. Saros on his 27th birthday gets the final save. And the Preds get a massive 2 points to go again. 6 points clear of the playoff cut line with just 5 games to go. Next up, a trip to Tampa on Saturday night to take on the two-time Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. But John Hines pretty happy after the game last night. Coming off the loss on Sunday, bouncing back and beating a first-place team in the manner in which the Preds did in a shootout.
Coach, a big 2 points tonight. What do you like about this one from your group?
Well, I really like the way that the commitment to defend the way that we played tonight. I thought it was much more of the structure that we need to play with and makes us a stingy team to play against. I thought that, we got taught some lessons, I think, in some loose play against St. Louis. But I think that the attention to detail tonight was at the level that you need to have to be a stingy team defensively. And I think we generate offense, from really good defense when we're playing at our best. And I thought it was a hard-fought game by both teams. But I think this is more of the game that gives us the best chance to win night in and night out.
John, Matt Duchene obviously got the first 40th in franchise history, but he was talking about how this season he and some of the other goal scorers have maybe been given a little bit more rope or leash, I guess is the way he put it by you. How would you describe that kind of back and forth?
Well, one, I'd say they've earned it. I don't think you give them anything. I think, they've earned it. So how does that happen? They're more reliable guys. They show up. They compete the right way. They're willing to check. I think that their decision-making has been much better when they have time and space and opportunities to make plays. I think they're making very good decisions. They're not forcing things. And that's the big part of it. That's the trust between the coaches and the players. For example, tonight, Granlund, Duchene, and Forsberg were matched against Lindholm's line. And so, they're playing against Kachuk and Gaudreau. But because of the way they play, you trust them in those situations. And then now, they're very good offensive players too. So because their commitment to play the game the right way, their decision-making is very good, you can play them in those types of minutes and against those matchups because I think that their game has said that they belong in those situations, and that's really how it's gone.
Not given the way you guys played this year, kind of physical identity, you're not in the playoffs yet, but would it be nice to get a little break, to not be fatigued as they have to go to the last day?
No, I mean, it's, I think that when you come down the stretch like this and you got to play meaningful hockey, it's what this time of year is about. It's, you're not going to get a lot of rest either way. I think it's getting in game mode, competitive mode, recovery mode, being mentally ready for games, being able to play in games like this, the attention to detail that you have to have, the competitive nature of the games are really important, and that's what this time of year is about. So, for us, it's we got a few days here to rest, recover, practice, get ourselves ready, and then you got another big one against Tampa, and I think that has to be the mindset. It's not resting and relieving. It's really ramping up and getting in that competitive mindset that this time of year requires.
How have you seen this group grow in terms of how it handles stressful situations, stressful times in the schedule, playoff races, things like that?
Well, I think it's been, we've preached for a long time, toughness is king. Mental toughness, physical toughness, and emotional toughness. And I think as we all see, it's a hard league. And I think you need to have skill, and you need to have talent, and you need to have structure, and you need to have an identity. But there's a mental component of the game and a toughness component of the game that is required to win. It's required to make the playoffs. Now, we're still in the hunt to be able to do that. But I think it's embracing embracing high-stakes hockey, embracing what the games are like when you play against, really good teams or playoff teams or down the stretch where every game matters and your decisions matter. I think it's really trying to take advantage of those opportunities and setting those seeds in your identity throughout the year. So when they're called upon now, you've learned lessons, you've been able to respond. And, I think there's been times this year, we didn't play very well against St. Louis. But I can tell you that there was disappointment after the game from everyone that can control what the next thing is going to happen, which is the coaches and players. And we come back and, okay, here's the areas that need to be better. There's no overreaction. There's a focus. There's a togetherness. And it's that resiliency that matters. And it's not overreacting to good situations or bad situations. It's staying with the process. And I think that's just part of what we've tried to ingrain. And it gets tested. It's good at times, and other times it's not. In the middle of the St. Louis game in the second period, it wasn't very good, but we were able to regroup and respond to that, and I think it's a continued work in progress, but it is a requirement to win.
Given that this is a potential playoff matchup and the fact that you got to get them again in a week, how important was it to kind of establish some confidence, going against?
I think most important was establishing confidence in our game after what happened against St. Louis and making sure that we focus on playing a style of game that is going to give us the best chance to win, regardless of who we play. And I think the next one is not about are we in or out. We need to utilize the next 3 days the right way, and we've got to be ready to play on Saturday against Tampa. And we just have to take, one day at a time, each day at a time, each game at a time. And, those are the things that we can control. We can't control anything else.
You talk a lot about this team playing for each other, and that's when they're at their best. When Matt Duchene scored his 40th goal tonight, Philip Forsberg looked more excited than anybody. Do you think that's a good example of how this team plays for each other?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it looked like, I think it was Forsberg, Granlund, and I forget who else. It looked like they were kids at an Easter egg hunt trying to find the puck, and I think Philip was the first guy to be able to get it. But, yeah, for sure. And I think that's something that, we've talked with those guys about. They've been so good to each other and for each other and with each other all year long. And I think, that's another example of, the guys, I think the bond that they have together and playing for each other. And, I think they're happy for each other's success. And I think they play hard for each other. And I think that's a great example of guys that are happy for a teammate that accomplished something that was, the first time in franchise history, and I think the first time in his career. And, his teammates and his line mates were really, really happy for him.
John Hines after the game. It has been special to watch Forsberg and Matt Duchene go back and forth this year. Both guys have had career years. Both guys have been great, and they've really pushed each other. One guy scores, then the other guy scores. Oftentimes, it seems like it's on the same night. Those guys really clicking, oftentimes playing together on the same line. And it has given the Preds, for the first time maybe in franchise history, a bona fide top line that can go up against anybody else. Oftentimes, the Predators have won by depth. And it would be the other team's top line that they tried to shut down and oftentimes couldn't match up with in terms of a scoring punch themselves. Not the case with this team by any means. They can score with anybody up top. The question is about the depth. The question is about the defense at times. But this Predators team has the scoring punch to maybe get some things done in the postseason. It looks closer to that becoming a fruitful thing, coming into fruition after a win last night that puts them 6 games clear of the playoff cut line. The Stars on the ice tonight. Golden Knights, Canucks have the night off. Several of these teams in contention will have games against each other. The Predators do not. They're playing other contenders, other playoff teams. But again, in good shape as they get set to head to Tampa Bay to take on the Lightning on Saturday. When we come back, we will switch gears. We'll talk some Titans football. Off-season workouts beginning this week. We'll hear from some of those guys when we come back. This is SportsLine on News Channel 5+.